I'll I'll be in the dark. I'm in the dark for AI anyway, so it's no big deal.
No, you're not. I just sent you a message on LinkedIn. You know as much about it as I do.
Hey, there's my AI. There's a hard drive. There's a printer. And an eraser. There's a delete.
Don't play that.
Uh,
No. Hey, can I share my screen?
Sure.
Can you see this?
yeah.
Yep.
What I didn't want people to think, and they did, was that AI is just ChatGPT, and it's not. That's my point. I don't know too much about ChatGPT either, but look at these things. Grammarly. Do you use Grammarly, Tina or
Yep.
John?
I do use Grammarly.
Right, it's AI. The Zoom AI companion thing that does the notes, that's AI. This thing called Riverside FM, this is where I put the captions on the videos. Okay, it's all driven by AI. Taplio, which is a free Chrome extension for LinkedIn, that's AI. Subject line, which we talked about before, that's AI. Turbo Scribe, which you can transcribe your videos, you can do 3 free in a day, etc. That's all driven by AI. Google Image FX, that's AI. Perplexity, that's a search engine AI, a bit like ChatGPT, but you get better answers. ChatGPT, okay. Gamma, this is really clever. This is where you can put some a document in there, and it'll create a presentation for you, maybe a PowerPoint presentation or a graph or whatever it is. I mean, it's incredible, right? Notebook LM. I think I've shared some of that with you before, John. Okay, you
Yep.
can put anyone. This is free from Google, right? And these are clickable links that take you straight to that point, right? And this is where you can put anything you like. You can put a video, an audio, a text document, whatever it is, into it, and it'll create a podcast between these two, this man and a woman. But it's all AI, and it's really clever. Then there's Napkin. This converts text into diagrams and charts. And finally, Artflow. That's where it takes text that you've got and generates video from it. So I just thought I'd share that. I think I shared it with you and Tina, and I think two others as well. So what I'm getting at is that they're all AI, right? It's here to stay. So that's why I wanted to have it as a topic. I wanted to hear what people were doing with it. And I wanted them to know very clearly that you, John, and I, and Mark, if he, wherever he is, okay, we aren't experts in this AI business, but we're prepared to listen and learn from everybody else. That was the point of it, right? Because I wanted people like Tina to talk more rather than you and me talk.
I'm not going
No,
to be able to get 2 cents on that. I mean, I use chat quite a lot, and I finally had paid for chat because I use it so much that I was overusing it in a day and I needed to have it. So I ended up paying for chat.
that's $20 a month or something, isn't it? Whatever it
I
is.
don't know. I think it was less than that. I think it was like, I don't know, $60 or something for the year. I don't know exactly.
Oh, really?
It wasn't really expensive. I was kind of surprised. Maybe I'm thinking of something else, but let me look and see if I can figure it out.
Hmm.
Well, don't they have a couple layers of Chat GTP now for the paid
Yeah,
version?
the paid version. You can also get some like diagrams from it, but I can't get anything worth using out of it. So
Um, you can. It just depends, Tina. This is my limited experience. So bear in mind, okay. However, I I can put a video up on ChatGPT. This is the paid version, and it will do the transcription for me and give me give me some feedback on it, right? But it's
Mhm.
feedback on my material. I'm not asking it to create anything for me. I'm always giving it what I want and helping me, getting it to give me some thoughts about it. But sometimes I put a video up and it says, sorry, we can't do it today. Not possible. The same thing applies to images. Sometimes they can create really good images. Other days they won't do it at all. So,
Unionized computers.
Mhm.
Yep. Oh, the computer's overworked. Said that's enough of that crap. Can't do anymore. The one thing I found with a lot of people with using AI, when it first came out, they were using it for everything. And they were using it for their responses. And then when you spoke to them, you knew damn well it was AI because it wasn't them talking. Now a lot of people are getting smarter and at least modifying it and making it sound more like themselves. And AI has improved a lot from when it first came out. Because I know the free version when they first came out was good, was up till 2021. That was last year in 24. And then I think they've upgraded it now to where it's almost up to 25. So that part's good for the freebie as well.
okay. Okay. To me, ChatGPT is just one of many things in AI. I don't look at it. To me, ChatGPT, I mean, I hear what Tina's saying, and yes, it is valuable because it can save you time, etc. But when I sat down and thought about it, John, I was absolutely shocked. My God, there's a lot of stuff I'm using for AI I never even realized before, right? I mean, to
Mhm.
me, I mean, I couldn't live without Grammarly because my typing is absolutely woeful when it comes to spelling mistakes, right? So,
Amen there. I get it. It really does help me on more of a professional level. So one of the things that I use chat for, and I used to do this on my own, is that I have my clients send me their emails either to their attorney or to their soon-to-be ex. And especially if it's for the attorney, I just copy and paste it into chat and I ask chat to clean it up and make it more legal professional. And so it'll take out all of the stuff that I normally used to have to take out. And then we put in a little bit more legalese terms and we send it on to the lawyer. And that helps the lawyer because they think in legalese terms.
okay.
And I'm able to do that in less than a minute. Copy, paste, ask it to do its thing, and I get it in less than a minute, where normally it would take me anywhere from 5 to 20 minutes, depending on how long the message was. And even if it's a real long message, I can stick it in to chat and it's still less than a minute.
Hmm. So when you say stick it into chat, does that mean you copy and paste it into chat, or do you
I
click the?
copy and paste it into chat and I just say, clean it up, take all of the emotion out of it. This is for an attorney. And so then it'll do all of that for me. And then, of course, I read through it and I'll still make a couple of changes because chat has its own verbiage. And I don't like chat's verbiage. There's a couple of words that chat uses all the time that I don't use ever. So I'll take that out and put my word in.
Food for thought, Tina. Why don't you? One of the what's the word? That prompt. One of the prompts you can use is um, put your stuff in there and say, and who is a famous lawyer in the divorce area, a well-known one. Who's that? Who could it
And
be?
I
A
wouldn't
name.
know. I mean, I'd have to, because their stuff has to be all over the internet for chat to scrub and find it.
Yeah, but what I'm getting at is you could try it.
Mm-hmm.
Acting as Joe Blow. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
acting as Joe Blow. Please rewrite this completely so it can be, it can be
And I've
implemented.
done that for like May the 4th. I wrote that as if I was Yoda. So I have
Okay.
it right as if it's Yoda. So I have done that.
All right. By the way, local business writing. Tell me about that, local business writing.
So when John actually went to the meeting, and we're having them every Tuesday to inform people, Local Business Rising is a platform that's designed by one of the very first AI writers ever, who wrote Big Brother for the United States government.
Oh, you mentioned that before. Yeah.
And yeah, and so it's a networking platform as well as a marketing platform. And he's gone out and spent thousands of dollars out of his pocket to try and figure out which are the best platforms to align it with. And he has spent a lot of time on Alignable, last, I don't know, several 2 to 5 years or something, working with Alignable to try and understand how Alignable's working, what's the good, what's the bad. And so he used Alignable, and then another platform that I'm involved with called NRG, and it's a networking program too. And he used all of that information as well as LinkedIn. And he wrote this platform for this to help teach people how to market, or to market for them, depending on which package they choose. Or like John and I talked, John and you guys don't need to have the more expensive packages because you already understand a lot about marketing, to the point that at some point we might ask you to speak at one of the things. And one of the deals that he didn't like about Alignable is that you run these Alignable programs, and Alignable doesn't give you anything in return. So you have to pay to actually run these Alignable things, and then you can't advertise. You can't talk about your business during that time. If you run or teach a class, you're going to be paid for it. If you bring somebody into the low level package, which would be where we're all at this point, is the $25 a month package. Anytime you bring somebody in, you get $25 for that person. It's not multi-level, but it's to help bring people in, because the more people we have on the platform, the more people that will know about us. We have 100% access to all of the information that's on there. Now, their emails won't be shared with us because we're trying to keep that private so we don't get spammers like you do on LinkedIn. So then you'll make a meeting with the person, a one-on-one, and they can give you their information, but you will have access to that person to be able to communicate with them to make the one-on-one, and it never goes away. If you decide you're going to be at the top at 500 and you drop down to the 25, then you still get to keep everything that you've got. It never goes away.
And he's also doing it for international. I asked him that.
Mm-hmm. And we're starting our first meeting, John, he wanted me to let you know. Our first training meeting is going to be Friday, and I'll have to get the time. I think it's 12. Let me look.
My problem is time frames.
Well, and that'll be where international, while we're start adjusting the time frames to fit for the international times.
Well,
But we've just barely launched. So it's going to be at noon at 12 o'clock Eastern time this Friday.
Okay, let's get back on the topic now. So what else do you use from an AI perspective, Tina? Because I'm waiting to learn from you.
I said that I can't get chat to give me some good images. It's a newer part of chat, so it's not giving the images. So I use, let me see what it's called. labs.google/fx/tools/image/fx, and I can put that into the chat.
Yeah.
It was put in the chat. This is where I got it from, is one of our calls together. And it has produced some really great pictures for me. In fact, all the ones that you've seen in the last probably 2 months on mine come from this program.
Yeah, that's the good image.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It gives me 4 pictures to choose from too, and sometimes there'll be 2 really good ones on there. And I used to use I used to go to Unsplash, which it had free pictures on there that I could use, but then they started charging for the ones that I really liked. And I'm like, well, if the FX can give me one of those pictures, I just tell it what to do, and then I can ask for the right colors. Because if I'm talking about me, I will have them put the female, an older female with long dark hair and brown eyes. So the female really looks a lot like me because I'm talking about me in that situation.
Right. And you know, with that AI Google Image FX, you can get the four images, but then you're going to keep editing until you get what you want. Did you know that?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Putting more text in. Yeah.
Yep. And
Yeah.
I've done that. And I have done it. I've been trying to create a logo. I have an idea in my head and I can't get it to verbalize out. I'm getting closer. Because I'm in the process of rebranding myself. So I've never had a logo, and trying to get that logo to fit with my vision is what I've been working on with it. I'm getting there.
Good. Okay. One of the things that for me, AI saves me time. I don't think I've ever asked AI to create anything new. I've always asked it to take what I've got and make it better.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. Or even better, sometimes I've said to it, here is a video. I want to do a post that supplements this video, but doesn't repeat anything that's in it. So give me the words for a 200-word post on LinkedIn, okay, based on supplementing what's in the video, which is a big ask to do that, but it'll do it. And you know what? 9 times out of 10, I'll say, no, that's crap. No, that doesn't sound like me at all. Just change it again. This is not, and by the time I get what I want, I keep thinking I could have done this myself in half the time, I think.
I just go through after it creates it. I copy and paste it. I pull it from chat and I put it into Word. And then I just replace all the words I don't like in there. So to me, that's faster than keep asking it to change. I like some of what they do, and I want it to sound more like me. I want to be involved in it, and I'm having trouble right now. I've reached a point that I really could have a VA, but I have a hard time with the VA not knowing what I'm doing and writing my posts. So I'm struggling with that.
One thing I did do, Tina, because I had the paid version of ChatGPT, right? And the one thing I spent a lot of time was on one weekend, I uploaded nearly 200 videos
Wow.
to this customized ChatGPT. It's not public, it's a customized ChatGPT. You can have that if you've got the paid version, right? And I put it all in there because what I wanted was for them to talk about to be me, rather than give me who someone else is saying. Does that make sense?
Right, right. And I
So
didn't realize that chat could do that. So
yeah. So I gave it all these videos that you've got to have what they call a customized GPT. Doesn't cost you any more to do it, but you just got to request it. All right. And I put all these videos up there. I put the links to my YouTube, to my website, which is a bit of rubbish anyway, to LinkedIn, I gave it, I think, oh goodness gracious, I'm guessing now, Tina, because it took me a weekend, more than 150 documents, right, that I created for clients, okay? I put it all up there, and I know by putting it in there, the public can't access it. They can't access it. If you put it in the ChatGPT free version, whatever you put in there, it's open for everybody to look at it. But if you put it in a custom GPT, it's private. No, but they can't share it. Does that make sense?
yeah.
And
So I did check how much that cost me. And it was Oh shoot, now I gotta,
20
oops.
bucks?
It was 40 for the year.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of affordable.
Wow. Because I'm paying
I
20 bucks a month.
So that's where, and I just did it for the year. So
I've always heard $20 a month.
Hmm. You got a good deal, Tina. I don't know where you got that from, Will.
I don't know either. Well, and to me, it wouldn't be worth 20 bucks a month when I can use it for free. There might be one month that I need to pay for it because I'm using it too much. And I'm not really using, like, I don't like the image generator on it. So I'm using the free one from FX. And I like that better.
Right. Okay.
I do caution people. Now I'm into the tools right now in chat, and it has an AI search engine, and being the fact that it's considered a search engine, it might do better as the paid version. But way back when they started, one of the lawyers used it to bring up a brief, and because when you take things to court, you need to prove that that's been through court before and what the rulings were so that you can use it. And so he had it bring up a brief. Well, it created it. It didn't bring up a real brief. He almost lost his job over that. So I really caution people when you're doing the search engine aspect of it to double check your findings, because because it says that it's there doesn't mean that it's not embellishing and creating.
Hmm. Hmm. Good point. What about
To
you,
look
John? What experience have you had?
with any of it, I very rarely have ever used it. So, I'm with the pen. So with me, it's I'm not the best person to talk about it. But where Tina was talking about the lawyer, there was two lawyers in California that brought up a case, and it was the judge, for whatever reason, when he reviewed it, and when he found out that AI had generated the brief, those two lawyers actually lost their jobs over it. It's serious business when you're playing with court and what have you.
Yep. That's why I
The
say
other,
use caution.
the other thing too is we've said it all before. If you just send out what ChatGTP puts out, and then when somebody talks to you, you're entirely different than what they say, and your trust factor is down the tubes instantly. You
Hmm.
can sound like the brightest, greatest person going with Chat GTP, and then all of a sudden they talk to you, and you sound like you're dumber than a bag of hammers. That you got no credibility.
What was that one again? Done with it a
Dumber than
bag.
a bag. Sorry, what's that? A
Hammers.
Dumber than a what?
bag of hammers.
Dumber than a bag of hammers. Okay.
He has some good ones, doesn't he? He could have said something else. We could be just lucky that he said hammers instead of something else.
Actually, I thought that was a normal expression. That's something you hear all across Canada.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, I haven't heard that one.
I've never heard it before. I mean,
I
how dumb
likely
is
have a few. I likely have a few you've never heard before, and 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 these
Never
ones
want to
are
look
ones
at.
that are used across the country.
Hmm. By the way, it's interesting, but especially on LinkedIn, more than anywhere else. I really can't comment for Facebook because I actually can't work it at the moment. I'm still having trouble with Facebook. But with LinkedIn, the number of people who are commenting using AI, right, without even putting any personalization into it, is just incredible. And it just sounds like a bloody textbook, right? And I'm thinking, good God. That's why I deliberately, when I do a comment, if I do a comment on, if I don't know Tina very well, for example, but I'm interested in getting to know her, I'll put on something like best wishes from a remote little Thai village, because for sure they ain't going to get that from ChatGPT, right?
Well, you can tell chat to put that in every one of your,
Oh, God.
texts
And
like that. But yes, but you can tell when chat is not, is the one that's doing it. And that's why when I go through and I have chat do something, I go back and reread it and I'll take out complete sentences because chat thinks it knows what I want it to say. And not always is that the case. But I do like most of what chat gives me, so I'll keep it and just embellish it with me.
yeah, yeah. Okay, good.
I had a response from a potential prospect I've been talking to, and I sent her back a message and I said, kindly drop the chat GTP stuff and respond in your own words. And sent back the message, I love to read. I sent back the message, BS. Your messages are all identical. And if you do any kind of research at all, it comes up with Chat GTP or a version of AI. The response I got to that was sorry. And
Yeah.
Mm.
because
We,
the
we
word, go
Go
ahead.
ahead. I was just going to say that we haven't realized this, but chat has been around quite some time, way before it actually, or not chat, but AI, because we have these Alexas in our house, and I use mine for music all the time, but they've been there, and just like you're saying, John, those responses, that's kind of exactly the way that Alexa responds to everything. I'm
Yep.
sorry. Uh,
Yeah. And, you know, I think I hurt the young lady's feelings. And if she's all concerned about it, she has me confused. And you know, the sad part of it is she's in her early 30s and she's trying to make a good impression and move up the corporate ladder. Well, don't be using this crap because you'll get found out real quick and your job that you might have got because you sounded good will be out the window.
Mm.
right.
Mm.
You know, and that's another thing. People were talking about using Chat GTP to write their resumes. And that's disqualifying a lot of people as well because it makes a resume sound great, grand, and wonderful. And then when they talk to the individual, it's a whole different ballgame.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah. And that's a scary thing too. You've got to watch. Again, chat is not human and it's going to embellish in AI kind of fashion. And so when I put my posts in, I write my posts. Then I put it into chat and I say clean it up for a LinkedIn post. So then it fixes my grammar, it fixes maybe spelling that I didn't catch. And that's where it puts in its own words and I have to go in and pull those out. Sometimes it'll even put in an extra sentence about something and I'll have to pull that out. But for the most part, my posts are all me and I check everything. I don't let AI go and do all of that for me. Yeah, it would save time. I wouldn't have to read so many posts and I wouldn't have to take the time to answer the posts. But it's like, Peter, for instance, I get on there every once in a while and I will read what through is there, or listen to your little audio, and then I will talk about what it just said in, of course, mine. But my reading that, because I'm in a LinkedIn posting party, my reading those, I'm learning from those people. It's been fun for me because as I go through and I read the people in the posting party, I can tell you about them. I can tell you the type of business they run. I can tell you if they use AI more than they use regular. Like one gal, it's all done by AI, all of it. Um, she will actually read the responses and answer the responses most of the time. But if it's not her in general, like whoever's reading my posts and answering my posts is her VA. And I can tell you that. I wouldn't have, but I talked to her and she told me, oh, I don't follow you. I haven't read anything you've ever done. Oh, well, that's nice. That's nice to know because now I'm not going to forward anybody over to her. Just the
Mm.
fact that she shared that, and it was not nice what she had to say to me. It wasn't intended to hurt or be mean, but she really threw herself under a bus with her one-on-one with me. I will never refer anybody to her because of that.
That, that's ignorant, Peanut. That is truly ignorant.
Right.
Wow. Well, I can assure you, any on your post have got nothing to do with ChatGPT. They're all coming from me, all right?
I can tell. I can tell.
I know you can tell. And the other thing is this: when I do a post on LinkedIn, I mean, I've tried it with ChatGPT before, but no, because I write like I talk, and so it's not brilliant grammar at all. And I really don't care, but it's me, right? That's the point of it. And to me, I've been criticised by some people who on my or joined my newsletter saying you need to give a more formal coverage of this and do this and do this. And I'm thinking, why? That's not me anyway. I mean, I am a very conversational, informal, casual guy. Okay. And really, why should I be given some sort of textbook stuff in a newsletter when I don't do that anyway? That's not what it's all about. Anyway, I just said, I was smiling when you talked about that lady, John, because one of these people was just yesterday, hang on, yeah, Monday, yesterday. And she said to me, I got a suggestion for you. I've been a member of your newsletter, but you need to do this more formally and do this and do this and do this and this. And I simply sent back a voice clip message to her on LinkedIn saying, her name is Melanie. I said, Melanie, why don't you do yourself a favor? Okay, unsubscribe. That's the easiest thing to do. It's not for you. See you later. Because I am not going to change and not be me. I mean, I am who I am, right? Why if people don't like it, John, I don't give a damn. I mean, and you're a member of my newsletter thing, and you've seen, I mean, the words I use are me, right? They're just very simple. I don't try to do too much. I just cover one topic at a time, a little topic at a time in each newsletter. And I put a little video in there. And I'm not trying to teach people, 10 steps to do this, or whatever it is, right? I just want to give them some thoughts. That's all. Anyway.
No, you're being you when you talk, and people realize when I respond, sometimes it's not the highest super professional. It'll be a case of, cut the crap and, you know, talk like a real person.
Yeah, and I've got people who've actually criticised me, including some people that we know and no names, no factual, right? And they've said to me, the biggest problem you've got with your newsletter and your posts is that your images aren't professional enough. You need to do this. And I'm thinking, well, they're probably right. But you know what? I don't really give a rat's, to be quite frank. They said, oh, it's out of proportion, this, and one of them was out of proportion. But I'm thinking, oh God, what? I don't want to. To me, it's not that important, right? The message is more important than anything else. But anyway.
They're
Uh,
your
you're,
newsletters. And this is what I tell people. Like I had an uncle and a nephew get into a fight a couple of years back on Facebook because the nephew put in something about Trump and blah, blah, blah. And his uncle is totally the opposite side of that. So he attacked him on his Facebook. And so I kind of chastised him because I've known him for a very long time. And I've known the nephew all of the nephew's life. Him and my mom were best friends. And I said, look, that's his Facebook page. That's where he gets to post his information. He gets to say what he wants to say. This is your newsletter, and you get to say and do what you want to do. If they don't like your newsletter, then they shouldn't open it.
you've heard me say before, Peter, people have gone through mine and said, there's a spelling mistake. So for the longest time, I put in my spelling mistakes are a gift to
I love that.
you.
There's probably tons of those in mine.
And they'd go through and they'd read it And I'd put this right at the top. Any spelling mistakes are my gift to you. So you knew it if you're coming to it. You know, don't call, don't write, don't send me smoke signals, don't
Mm.
bitch, because I know they're there. And so what?
All
I
righty. Anything
it's
else we can talk about?
the spelling mistakes. Of course, chat won't make spelling mistakes, but I struggle with spelling that, and since Joe died, there's been moments that it's been really bad. Um, but when you get tired, and this is something, being from the United States and going to England, there are different spelling for airport and airplane. And so these were things that, you will see if I get newsletters from England. And is that spelled wrong? Well, no. Maybe we're spelling it wrong, but in lots of the cases, I don't know about you guys, I'll read over and I will miss all the spelling errors and other people's stuff until I go back the second time because I'm just reading it.
Mm. Mm.
Well, the
And
Americans can't spell half the words anyways.
by the
It's
way,
because our words are too difficult to spell. Thanks, John.
that's another point, Tina. One of the things I have found before I actually click publish for a post, I will read it through out loud to myself. Not just I read it out loud. This is me, okay? To see, because if it doesn't sound right to me, then I won't publish it. Does that make sense?
Right. And I do the same thing.
And if it's got grammatical errors in it, I don't care. I don't care. I mean, I'm not asking. I mean, spelling mistakes, yes, okay, but grammatical, I don't care because I'll start sentences with and you're not supposed to do that, and all that sort of stuff, right? But that's how I talk. Anyway.
Well, Grammarly doesn't care if you start it with and or but. And some of the spelling, the grammar stuff that we were taught in school has changed. I don't know whether you guys have noticed that, but I have noticed the things that I learned in school, and I'm just a little bit younger than you guys, has changed. And I'm like, so why did we bother learning all of that when we're coming here and it's changing all completely?
Now, isn't that interesting? Earlier I talked about Grammarly, right?
Right?
Because it fixes all the grammar, etc. But you know what? The younger group who are now online, they don't give two squirts about capital letters, full stops, periods, whatever it is. Okay, they don't. They just text boom. Okay, so and I mean, if they had Grammarly, they'd never do anything because Grammarly keep correcting them all the time, right?
Right.
So,
And
but
that's true. My oldest son, and he was born just before those group of kids started coming aboard. He has his own way, his own grammar, and his own aspect to it. And he's a hyper intelligent kid with ADHD, and that ADHD really causes them to skip periods and commas, and they just go on about stuff. But he happens to catch those things in other people's writing. So then he has to go back and look at his writing. So he himself has said that Grammarly is causing the younger generation to not learn. He says things like that, and he refers to it in these cars that can drive themselves. He's like, these people will never be able to drive if they lose the batteries and all of this in their cars because they'll never know what they're doing. And and I use Grammarly to help me, with my spelling, especially if I'm struggling on a day. I'm like, okay, stop. Why did we misspell this? This is a word that you use all the time, Tina. And so I'll go back and I'll look and I'm like, oh, my eyes saw an N and it was actually an M.
well, actually, I'm a very good speller, but I'm a bloody woeful typist. That's what Grammarly is good for me for. Because I'll just type away, then look at it and I'll think, good God, that's gibberish. And then Grammarly comes in and cleans up. Well, and sometimes Grammarly can't even work out what I'm trying to say anyway. Anyway.
Well, I think AI is a good additive. And I was just mentioning this in a spiritual sense that, we watch all these movies about um, magic and we see all this wonderful magic that's happening. Well, if we really look at what AI is doing and where we're going, we're getting ready to go into that magic zone because we can already walk into a room and go like this and turn on our lights. Yeah, AI is involved in that. But the reality is that's the magic that's coming. We're heading into that zone. And so, as long as we use AI to support us as the human beings, us being the ones in charge, then AI is a wonderful tool for our work. But when we let AI take over, when we let a VA take over everything, then we don't have our finger in the pot anymore. And when our finger isn't in the pot, it doesn't taste like we want it to taste. So we need to have our eyes, our ears, and our voice in our posts, at least in some part. And maybe not every one of them, but every once in a while. And for me, I'm in every single one of my posts. I'm the one who wrote it. AI helped me. Chat helps me clean it up. And then I fix their grammar and then I send it out.
It's interesting because a week or two ago, I think, John, you commented on it. Maybe you did too, Tina, I'm not sure. But I did a post that talked about the use of AI in comments on people's posts, right?
I think I read
And
that.
I got 30 or 40 comments on it. But more important than that, I got nearly 5,000 impressions, whatever that means, on LinkedIn, right? And there were a lot of people who excuse me, who didn't comment, but messaged me about their thoughts about my post. And I simply said, don't put them here, put them on the post, right? But
Well, you can copy and paste, except for
no,
it doesn't attach to their name, but
that's there. I don't want to, that's there. I don't want to quote them back on my post. I want them to do it. Anyway.
When they do that with me, sometimes I'll go back to my post and answer them on the post. And of course, I get their name at their name. So then the conversation comes back to the post. I have done that before.
Yeah.
As long as it's not private, because there's some stuff that comes to me that I can't do that with.
There was one person in particular, and I mean, I love him to death, so I'll leave his name out. But he sent me this comment on that particular post. And I said, don't put it here, put it on the post, right? So what he did was he put it on a post, but he put it on the wrong post, right? He just copy and pasted it on any post. He didn't even bother to look at the post, right? What it was, he just stuck the comment on there. And I thought, anyway, I just put a comment saying, thank you very much for not tagging. Thank you very much for the comment. Did you bother by any chance to check out what the video was all about? Because your comment has absolutely nothing to do with it. And I got his attention. Anyway, that's enough of that.
Those are all things, that are super important for us all to pay attention to. We get to moving too fast. And that's where, I'm at a point that I could hire a VA because I've got enough, especially since Joe died with me having the house, blah, blah, blah. But again, if we just let AI take over, then it's not personable. And we are small business people. And the reason people are coming to small business people is because they're tired of the non-personable. You call them on the phone and it's a robot that's talking on the other end. And we're tired of that. We hang up on the robot more often than we talk to them anymore. And we want the small business personable, the gal that talked to me that says I never this and basically said, you're not good enough for me to coach you. And interesting enough, when I come back through and I needed that coach, I had to go to somebody else because now I won't go to her because there was no personability to her. She didn't know me. She hadn't followed me. She hadn't done anything. She hadn't even researched me before our meeting.
Mm, mm. Good point. All righty. Well, I'm finished for today. Anyone want to say anything else?
I was just gonna say, like where Tina just brought up about researching, there's no reason on earth not to know who you're talking to today with all the information on Facebook, LinkedIn, you name it, and it's all over. You should know who you're talking to.
Amen. You should. It's so easy. I know I started hanging out with a gal and I talked about my husband. So she researched me and found him and then researched him and listened to all kinds of our shows together. So she come back and she had all this information. And I'm just like, again, you know, we try to do our work and she did a deep dive, which we can do. And when you do a deep dive, you get the voice of the person. You get what they're really about, just like me reading all those LinkedIn posts of these people. I can tell you who cares about me. I can tell you what they think about their business. I can tell you that a lot of it's AI. There's one guy that uses AI all the time, but he puts his voice in it. And then when you message him about his stuff on his posts, he has a very good conversation with you. And he is somebody I would definitely refer people to just because of his personability, even though AI is doing his posts with him.
Yeah. See, interesting point. This guy called Paolo, he reached out to me as a connection on LinkedIn yesterday. And I accepted it. I looked at his profile, I said, yeah, okay. And I simply said to him, Paolo, thank you for reaching out. I'm curious, what prompted you to want to connect with some Aussie guy in a remote little Thai village? I'd love to know. And his answer was this: where do you live and what do you do? I
So
immediately
awesome.
connected. He
It's,
didn't
you
even
know, and
bother.
that's kind of the way John connected with me. I don't even know exactly how we connected the first time. I know it was on Alignable. But when we sat there, he never talked about what he did. Never. And I have had so many of these young people, which I will never hire a young person just because of this. It's all about them, all about them. And John was all about me. And he started asking questions. And the whole time that we were talking, which is great. I mean, we're making a connection, but he's doing his job. He's actually writing important information down about me, about my business. He's finding out, he's doing a deep dive 1-to-1. And so he's the coach I hire. He's the one that I like to work with because he cares about me. Yes, yes. And when I refer people to marketers, I right now I'm referring them only to the group of us that are here. I say, John this, Peter that, and Mark this. And those are about the only three of you that I really refer people to. But it's just super important because, the people that are going to resonate with John are maybe not the people that are going to resonate with you, Peter. And I'm not a business guru. I'm not a marketing guru at all. It's, the moving me forward, I need help with. I need that support. So I go and I hire coaches for all kinds of stuff. I have like 4 of them I'm working with right now. Part of it's my healing stuff through my grief, but it's still all having to do with my business because I am my business.
All right. Well, I'm going to love you and leave you, or you too.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. This was a great conversation. Thanks for all your 2 cents, John.
You're welcome.